solve them here in the near future. Welcome, folks. You normally don't hear the beginning of the stream anyway, so you probably only hear from now. So, welcome, folks. Hello, hello, hello. Some of you, of course, probably heard that 3 times. Go for it, D. Do that thing, please.
What's going on, everybody? What's going on, everybody? What's going on, everybody?
Nice.
It's going for educational entertainment purposes only. You have to be 21 and over to be here. If not, you have to get out, get out, get out.
That's the way. That's the way. That's the way. Ladies and gentlemen, I promise we'll stop the echoes here in a little bit once we figure out the technical support issues. Obviously, we have a super high show budget, so we'll get our tech support people to do it. We've got an entire team back in behind the stage, right? D, you have like what 5 or 6 people supporting you right now.
Yeah,
He
man.
had 7, but he just thought it was too much. He was like, "We gotta just let a couple of these people go." He was nice though. He basically gave them 6 months severance. That's how high our show budget is. So real nice guy there. That D is super nice guy. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy the show. Welcome. It's a conversational show. I hope you guys enjoy it. Hope you guys, first of all, enjoy the conversation, like I said, but I hope you also join the conversation because this is an interactive show, or it's meant to be rather an interactive show. I'm actually supposed to turn it like this. I think I am actually supposed to turn it like this now that I think about it. So, ladies and gentlemen, where's the fucking camera? There's the camera. I'm going to switch over to the computer so it's not so weird in a second here. But folks, High Noon is all about chilling out, having a second to think about your thoughts, talk about the subjects that are most interesting to us. Of course, most of the time that's, weed related, but of course there are other things involved too. But ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome on the show. If you are new to the show, a wonderful place to start would be in the chat. If you guys have never said hello in the chat, please do. Super friendly chat, I'd like to think. Every once in a while we have a jerk off, but we throw them off the back of the boat and then we laugh as they flap around in the water, right? But ladies and gentlemen, if you're a nice person, you'll never get any shit in the chat. I can pretty much promise you that. If you do, of course, get any shit for whatever reason, just DMD and he'll happily take care of that. He's the moderator of the most force and he will happily squash anybody that's causing any problems. So feel free, ladies and gentlemen. In other words, don't be bashful, don't be shy, don't feel like you're going to get crushed or made fun of, or someone's gonna mock your garden or something. None of that. We don't allow any of that kind of stuff in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. We encourage everybody of all levels, whether they be super advanced or super beginner or anything in the middle. We encourage all of those folks to contribute. Just obviously bring your A game mentally. Don't just pull stuff out of your ass. But we encourage everybody to contribute in the conversation. If you have questions, if you have experience with certain things, we'd love to hear from you. Now that also goes doubly essentially in the panel. If you'd like to join the panel, it's not a closed panel. You're welcome to join. Just ask politely in the chat, hey, I'd like to join the panel. Could I please get a link? And D or whoever else is the moderator in the chat is able to post the link. Gray names can post the link, so to speak, but you'd have to copy and paste it. You can't actually pin the link, but blue names can pin the link. So folks, just make sure that you ask a blue name. If nobody's hearing you, if nobody on the panel hears you request or sees your request, just do at whoever's the blue name in the chat. There should be somebody. There's almost always somebody. If not anybody, just DMD and he'll catch it eventually. But ladies and gentlemen, we encourage you to hop on the panel. We'd love to see your garden. We'd love to hear from questions or experience that you've had with genetics. Last week, last Saturday, I guess it was, Couch Flyer was talking about some genetics, and I was like, oh, that'd be a perfect question for North Star. So, for example, ladies and gentlemen, by all means, obviously, Couch Flyer, you're more than welcome, but also other folks, if you have a question about, for example, some of the genetics from some of the panel. Obviously, some of the regulars are, me, North Star, some other. Flora, for example, often stops by. But if you have questions about other genetics, we don't like to talk shit about other breeders because it's just it doesn't really it doesn't end well, honestly. What's that? What's that, Joel?
It doesn't look good either.
It doesn't look good.
It's
honestly, it doesn't look good on anybody. Yeah, exactly. It looks petty. It just looks stupid. So don't come on, ladies and gentlemen, to start a fight or start nonsense about genetics. But if you have positive or good critical comments, let's put it that way. I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to talk shit about somebody. But if you have a negative experience that we can talk about normally, that's fine too, of course. But ladies and gentlemen, we'd be happy to hear from you. Please hop on the panel. Join North Star, join D. Basically, they were normal viewers that hopped on one day. So folks, there's the camera, you can do the same. So folks, don't be a dick. Don't show your dick, and don't be a lunatic. Those are the 3 main rules for the panel. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, just don't bullshit. So with that, I'll hand it off to the rest of the panel and try to switch over to my computer so it doesn't feel so weird. And go for it, D.
What's going on, everybody? What's going on, chat? Hope everyone's having a great afternoon. I'm smoking on animal cookies, and I've got. Should not forget the other one. Damn it! Oh, Super Pink Kush, and then I also have. What's that other one? There's another one I have. Hold on. Damn it.
Window.
Space Runts, but that's for nighttime, which is not right now, of course. Okay, thank you. I'm doing an intro. Anyways, cheers, everybody. I gotta get my window. Go for North Star.
How's it going? Hope y'all can hear me happy. I'm starting to battle some freaking internet options right here. Just fucking struggling, but okay, cool. It's been glitching like crazy here, and then between that and my neighbor here has been doing yard work for the past half hour. They finally quieted down, so I think you can hear me over everything. So that's good. Puffing on a bowl of some Sugar Jack right here. XJ times Space Dude. Good daytime buzz. Gets me kind of moving and grooving. I have been basically earlier this morning, just till about 10 minutes ago, I was battling with my vacuum pump and my freeze dryer. Trying to freeze dry some cooked chicken breasts I have sliced down for my cats to make some nice cat treats. And a couple days ago, I started up. I can't get the vacuum to draw deep enough, so I went in there. I started flushing the oil, all that kind of crap, and it's actually gotten worse. I think I got to take the damn thing apart. I think I got an O-ring busted, or the coupler has come loose or something. But I have to go and
There you go.
take apart a vacuum pump and play with it. So fun afternoon.
That reminds me, I was going to bring it up on the show yesterday. Anybody who's listening, you included, North Star. I'm honestly curious about getting a freeze dryer. Let me see if I can find the one I was looking at. So now that I have my own place, I have a little bit of room. I actually have room. If I wanted to, I could make a little hash room. And I'm thinking about turning this one little room. I basically have a water heater and then empty space. It's not a huge room or anything, but it's not really big enough. Let's say, I mean, I could certainly turn it into a grow room, but a very logical choice. It's got easy access to the outside, so I have easy access to water. There's a hose right outside. Unfortunately, that room is not really plumbed. I don't have a waste drain and stuff, but I could easily just open the door and water, just wash the hash right outside. So I'm really thinking about making a freaking hash room. And well, these days everybody says you absolutely have to have a freeze dryer. So I saw Harvest Right freeze dryer at Costco the other day, and I'm like, what the shit balls?
That's what I got.
Is that the one that you have?
I bought that years and years when it first came out. I got one. As a matter of fact, mine's so old. There's no adjustments on it as far as temperatures of the trays. Nothing. It's a small, only 4 little trays. That was their first base model. Only had one color, was black, so you could get. I think maybe they had stainless steel too, but extra $100 or something. But I know they cost quite a bit more now than they used to. But they're actually quite a bit better from what it sounds like as far as size options, adjustability on them, and so forth. So. You know what? They're not even Christ. That Costco price. That's what I basically paid for mine right there. I mean, now we're talking probably almost 10 years ago.
In the warehouse is a lot less than this. Actually, this online price is crazy high. I don't know if you log. Well, it doesn't actually say if you log in, you get a lower price. So I feel like this is the online price. I think that's the retail price on their website. Don't allow. Fuck off. What is it? $1,600? Let me see. It was.
That's actually bigger than mine. Mine's was almost that price, but it was only 4 trays.
I'm sorry. This is the medium. Oh, that's why it is. They don't have the small. They only have the medium, large, and extra large. How fun is that? So in the warehouse, I had the. I'll find it here. Oh, there we go. It's the Harvest Right Small Home Pro Freeze Dryer. It is. I don't know what dimension will tell you anything. It freezes up to 1,100 pounds a year. I don't know if that tells you shit. 6 to 9 pounds per batch. I don't know if that tells you shit either. It's 17. Yeah, none of these things.
All depends on what you're fucking freeze drying, how much it's going to weigh in the end, and all that kind of crap.
Exactly.
So.
Oh, I'm gonna freeze dry some gold. Let's see what happens when I freeze dry gold. Anyway, this one comes with the Premier pump. I remember they used to charge way extra for the Premier pump. Then you get like an impulse bag sealer, which I guess is like a food saver, and what else? An oil filter, which I guess is handy, and then the starter guide. So all that for $1,600. $1,599.99.
That's the good. That's It's less than I paid for mine when it came out new. I bought it right from Harvest Right when it had
Really?
no kind of options whatsoever. Actually, I've only pretty much used it for hash and a little bit of candies and stuff for the kids messing around with. We haven't used it a lot for a whole lot of food and so forth. This is the first time I'm actually going to have to maintenance the vacuum pump now. And I've had it for, like I said, close to 10 years, I think.
Wow. Right on.
Cool.
You're supposed to, with the home models, I guess the big difference between the home model, even the Premier pump, and the professional models is that you have to change the oil, or you're supposed to change the oil every, I can't remember, 15 or 20 uses or something. Whereas the professional one, you change it like every year or some shit. I can't remember. I don't remember.
I have the economy pump of mine. They recommend you change it like every time I freaking use it, just about.
And
so I mean, you get moisture built, so you have water laying in the bottom, the water will sink to the bottom. So what I always did was I'd basically run it after I was done running it. I would take care and come back like an hour later. It's still warm, but everything's settled. And I'll drain off like a tablespoon or two out of the bottom. I'll do the same thing before I start it the next time and then fill it back up. Just so any kind of heavy contaminants or any kind of water would sink to the bottom. I could be before I start it and after I start it, I drain a little bit out.
And what kind of oil do you use? Do you use their special
vacuum oil pump, the JB pump oil? Yeah, it's clear oil, petroleum oil, some sort, I guess.
Obviously not some special, super expensive oil.
Nah.
Gotcha. Right on. Super. Huh.
And then, yeah. Basically, I flushed the whole thing out, figuring I had really bad oil because I haven't used it that much in the past couple of years, as much as I used to. So I flushed it all out, and then I was flushing it while I was running a little bit, trying to loosen anything that might be funky in there. So I don't know. It's not drawing a vacuum. So I did a little looking at the maintenance issue and all. And I said basically I can have an O-ring that could be loose, or the shaft in the middle, coupler shaft can come loose, and then it won't. When it starts getting a real tight vacuum, it'll start slipping. So it won't draw enough vacuum. So that's probably what's happening. So I have to basically take it apart now to see what's up with it.
Still, you got good value for the dollar, it seems like, or well, I guess you paid a little bit more for it, but it seems like you got good value for the last.
Excellent. Yeah, I've used it a lot. And I've seen the prices cheap as they are now. I wouldn't even mind if I was to move and get to more homesteady. I might get a second one. Shit, start freeze drying some produce and everything with it.
Yeah, what did I use?
Easy enough to use.
I love freeze-dried berries and stuff. That's such a nice thing. Every once in a while in the springtime, you can find spectacular prices on berries. How fun would it be to just freeze a bunch of?
We've done bananas. My kids love to freeze-dried bananas, like slices.
Nice.
But Christ, for what you pay for real bananas as opposed to freeze-dried ones, oh my God, it's a robbery at the store. It's unreal. It's like I'm paying like $6 for like 2 bananas at the freeze-dried level.
No, I know what you mean. I think at Trader Joe's
for like 95 cents. And
I bought at Trader Joe's the freeze-dried bananas or whatever it was, and it was like literally a 2-ounce package of freeze-dried bananas, which I guess equated to maybe 6 ounces of bananas, was like $4 or something. Yeah, meanwhile, at Trader Joe's, you can buy like a pound of fucking bananas for $1 or whatever. Like 4 bananas. Fucking ridiculous.
Exactly.
Freeze-dry cartel. Let's see. Oh, I don't even have the comments open. That's why I don't have anything. What do folks in the chat think about these freeze dryers?
I want to try some freeze dried fruit. No, that's interesting. I want to try some of this freeze dried fruit. I've never really tried freeze dried anything.
Never.
No,
you are like a delightful, I don't know, like the childlike wonder on the show is always represented with you. You like the other day you tried Indian food for the first time and we're like, yay! And we're the other day, I can't even remember. Oh, you have to discover freeze-dried strawberries, freeze-dried bananas, like he said. What's my other? Oh, freeze-dried blueberries. I think I really like freeze-dried blueberries.
They're good. Yeah.
What else? Oh, astronaut ice cream. That's
slices.
Legendary. Have you ever had astronaut ice cream?
Oh, yeah.
Ice cream.
We've done that. We've done ice cream sandwiches.
Ice cream.
We've done ice cream sandwiches.
I've heard of those and I've never had one. Fuck, that would be amazing.
That was pretty cool.
Wow. And I make these amazing snickerdoodles.
We've done Skittles and gummy bears. Gummy bears are pretty cool. They swell up. The gummy worms get all puffy and stuff and crackly.
I've heard that. That's fun as hell.
I like that.
Fun.
They just offer a crunch. They get crunchy. They turn it instantly get gummy in your mouth as you chew them. So they're like crunchy, funky, bubbly, and you bite into it. Then it gets all super gummy, stuck in your teeth, and starts to dissolve in your mouth after you bite into it.
Dude,
pretty cool.
I'm gonna find a pen and start writing this down.
Let me switch to Fumodoro so I can actually get to my account. Well, I could get to my account otherwise too, I guess. Holy shit, my subscription page is so weird on Fumodoro. I'm not subscribed to very many things, so they give me the weirdest fucking combo of shit. Ugh. Anyway, view my channel. Here we go. Okay, I better mute myself so we don't. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, hop on. I'm so surprised that there's like literally no one on the freaking show. It's idiotic. It's high noon, ladies and gentlemen. Come on. Come on, check what condition your condition is in, ladies and gentlemen. Cheers, Miranda Family Farms. Saying happy Wu-Tang Wednesday. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, that Wu-Tang is for the children. Jones N2 Grow is in the house. Love for the plant, one of the main moderators on the channel. Good to see you, buddy. Who else is hanging with us? Not too many people. Actually, very, very few people hanging with us. Folks, hop on, join the conversation, join the show. We're going to be here for a little bit longer. Nobody's really saying anything about the freeze dryers. Love for the Plant, do you have any experience with those? Or let's see, Jones has washed hash before. Miranda Family Farms definitely has washed hash before. I guess my primary reason to buy the thing is essentially to make hash, right? But it would be really fun to make all these other things we talk about, right? Like,
yeah,
shoot, you know.
And as far as making hash, it comes down to what kind of style you want too. You want to just, kind of get your loose, like a slurry kind of material and put it in your trays and you have like a loose sandy hash out of your freeze dryer. Or I pressed mine a little bit so they're pretty dry when I put them in there, but they're hand pressed. And then they kind of puff up a little bit. So they have like looks kind of like a BHO puck from back in the day, like a little honeycomb kind of look to it.
Fascinating. I wonder what squishes better, because my whole thought was really, I haven't really thought it through too much, to be honest, I guess, but my thought was, because I have a rosin press, my thought was to freeze dry bubble hash and then basically squish it in my rosin press. But honestly, if I had good enough hash, I guess I could stop there. So I guess my question is, if I didn't stop there, what squishes better, that fluffy hash or the squish down hash? Probably the squish down hash, but I guess I don't know. Honestly, the fluffy hash has a lot of surface area, so when you squish into it, each trichome basically gets condensed, maybe. I wonder. Fun experiments to discover in the future. Holy cow. Man, it's crazy how much the situation has changed for just like home anything grower hash producers in the last 10-15 years, right? Like bubble hash used to be kind of an abnormal thing. Now it's the de facto normal thing, and wouldn't you know it, you can make it at home. So you can do it basically as well. In theory, you can do it as well as the best commercial producers. You can do the entire process at home. To this day, I say that the only way, like alchemists for thousands of years have tried to turn lead and common metals into gold. The only way you can actually practice alchemy is to grow weed in your garage or your basement, because you can basically turn a fucking seed. You can get a seed from a guy like North Star or me, and you can plant that fucking seed, and a few months later, you can literally spin it into fucking gold, basically. You can create the finest level hash, you can create 6-star bubble, you can create beautiful rosins, you can create dry sifts, edibles, you name it.
Yeah, I'd argue even that nowadays the home grower has an advantage over the large place. And you can get exactly a quality rosin press. You can run freeze dryer. You have access to genetics from all over the world, and you don't have to worry about growing any certain scale or having to limit your pounds per square meter you're trying to get into. So you can go ahead and select a better strain, possibly make a better selection on it for flavor and potency, and then cultivate that one little 4x4 area you're growing, whatever, and just baby the hell out of it. And have the most beautiful, perfect harvest. And chances are, and press all that and make an amazing extract. The chances are you're not going to. A lot of facilities are probably big facilities are probably running lots of larfy bullshit and stuff they've bought from somebody else and just mixing it in to cut their stuff to get extra yield out of it and everything. I wouldn't.
That's a very insightful point too. It's something I've thought about, and I've honestly wondered. I have seen a lot of commercial cuts by this point, and I've grown a few people's commercial cuts by this point. And of course, some were exemplary, some were really, really good selections from seed hunts and so on. But a lot of them, honestly, were not the selections that I would make, or the selection that I think a lot of us on this show would make, because they were, in many cases, less flavorful than I know that strain can be. They were in many cases, how do I put this? Less oily, less resinous, just everything less basically, but they grew faster. For example, they would finish super quick or they would yield super high. The commercial cut is usually not, in my opinion, usually not really, how do I put this? There is no best cut. I guess I was going to say. I think a lot of people have this conception that the commercial cut of whatever, a commercial cut of blueberry, or commercial cut of muffin, or whatever it is going to be the best cut. I actually disagree. I think honestly that cut is going to be sure best for production value, maybe. If you want to yield a lot of material to sell on the market, sure. Especially for a mediocre price. But I think if you want the ultimate quality of a selection, it's going to have to be that kind of home grower selection, where, like you said, it may not be the absolute biggest of the plants. It may not even be this absolute. This reminds me of your Bedrock Boogie, actually. She was the runt of the litter. She was literally the runt of the litter, but there was something about her from seed. I was like, huh, I'm not going to let that one go. And wouldn't you know it, she blossomed into this pink bud meat, gorgeous flower that reeked of just sweet strawberries and cream, had an incredible high. You wouldn't have selected that in a commercial environment.
Yeah.
You would have culled that. Absolutely. From the first day, basically.
I think too, the commercial, like their varieties they pick are something that they can grow really well,
Yeah.
even if it's somebody that's being paid by hour. And then all of a sudden you have a shift of people, new people come in, it's different people growing the same plants and they can still grow it the same. It's not, like you said, at somebody's house, you can go ahead and you can change the environment easier, smaller. You can really put more time into it. You're paying people by the hour to make you money. So they can't sit here and spend an extra 20 minutes per plant just to
That's right.
Google over it and really go all over the thing and just make sure it's perfect.
Yeah.
So you're not going to have the absolute best out of it, probably.
No,
But
it's
they
fascinating.
make the selections based on they yield good, and they look beautiful, and they sell well, and they're easy. Whoever's growing it can take care of it and grow it well, pretty much. You don't need to have a high skill level to grow a lot of those things.
No comments in the chat about the. DGC Jeff is saying, yeah, did you mention Costco's $1,500 freeze dryer from Harvest Right? I did, Jeff. I'm asking if anybody has any experience with it. Hop on, Jeff, if you have any experience. Hop on anyway if you have even no experience with them. But I'd really like to know about it because honestly, I've seen it a couple times. First time I saw it, I thought I was like, oh, holy shit, that's cheap for a Harvest Right. And sure enough, I think it's a really good price. Normally you get them for a minimum, I think, $2,000 basically. So again, Costco strikes the deal, right? A pretty fantastic. Oh, and it comes with that Premier pump and everything. So a lot of times when you get it for $2,000 or something, at least when I've seen in the past, it doesn't come with the better pump. So like Northstar said, you basically have to replace the oil every single fucking time or mess with it. So that Premier pump definitely apparently it's quieter too, so that's pretty handy.
Oh, I'd like that. That's
Last thing you need is all day, right?
Oh my god, yeah.
I mean, shit. I guess you could put it in I don't even know, wrap it in a fiberglass tent or something for quietness or something. I don't fucking know.
I have a what we call a like a harvesting room in our house. It's for home gardens and stuff. We have like a canning room, we call it too, and like a craft table in there and a couple things. It's in that room, so we can close the door and just the back of the house and leave it back there to do its thing because it is noisier than shit. That's for sure.
I don't know how much quieter that Premier pump is, but it's supposedly quieter. Let's see.
I like that.
Let's Love for the Plant saying, Love for the Plant says, agree the commercial cut isn't always the best. Lilac Diesel for us Colorado home growers as an example. The Lilac Diesel in commercial doesn't come close to the terps of our LD cut. Lilac Diesel, that's one that I was annoyed by. I grew Love for the Plant. Tell us more about that Lilac Diesel because I bought seeds of Lilac Diesel from Ethos, I guess, and it was the Lilac Diesel BX3, I want to say. And well, okay, how was I wasn't really, now that I think about it, I wasn't really that disappointed. I guess I just didn't find what I wanted. It was quite gassy, but well, I guess what I mean to say is I never found any lilac. I found some somewhat floral terps, just a little bit floral, but I mean, like, you call the fucking thing lilac diesel, it should be absolutely not only floral, but smell like lilac, right? So didn't have any luck with that. I think I had it was like a bonus pack or something I got at the Indo Expo. So there was maybe 20 seeds or something. So I think I planted pretty much all of them. Didn't get shit out of it. So. Oh, Left with Plan says it wasn't lilac or very diesel in flavor. There we go. That's the answer right there. God damn it! I hate when people name shit like that. Like what's his face? Compounds, apples and bananas. It's good weed actually. It's really quite good weed. It's very nostalgically kind of flavored. Has this very
It's awesome.
Afghan flavor, but it doesn't taste like apples or bananas in any fucking circumstance. I don't even know if you tilt your head sideways like a border collie, it's still not going to taste like freaking apples and bananas. Dead Fish Fan says I paid 3,800 for my freeze dryer. I got it at Tractor Supply and used it mainly for drying mushrooms. Dead Fish Fan, how big is it? Like it's very hard to where's that fucking page with the harvest rights. So this is the medium. I guess I could go to their website. Very hard to judge the sizes if they don't tell you what the interior is. I guess you could judge by the shelves, although it looks like the shelf sizes are bigger too now that I look at it. If you look at these 3 pictures of these, here comes Jeff. Here, I'll make the co-host so we can people come in here. If we look at just the picture of them side to side, it looks like the shelves physically take up different amounts of space, right? This is kind of like baby bear, mama bear, and papa bear, right? Like they're physically wider, and there's also more of them. There's 1, 2, 3, 4,
Yeah.
6, 7 versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 smaller shelves, and that's the medium. So the small, I would imagine, fuck, the small might be half as big as this. Oh, and also judging by the panel. I would imagine.
Hey, well, I'll go grab you a small shelf, show you how big the shelf is.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah, the panel I bet is the same size. So the large one I bet is a large machine. Physically, the machine is larger.
Now, how much material would you say you'd get in like a pound in like a small one per tray,
This is a
or
wonderful question, D. I don't know how to answer that question.
compared to a large
Jeff,
tray?
do you have any experience?
No. And I must have had the small one at the store for 1,500. Guess that's what I
it. They have
saw.
the small one at the store. That's exactly it.
Yeah. And it seemed pretty small. But
There you go. Oh yeah, look at that on their website. It's even 2,100.
That's the medium, right? And so there must have been the small because it was 1,500.
Yeah, it is the small. It's
that's right. Harvest Right.
And how big are those machines?
Harvest Right Small Pro. It's 17.5 inches wide. The medium, let's check it. Okay, can we compare?
This is a small shelf here.
Oh, hold on, sure. Go for it. Oh, okay. And D was asking how much material you put in, for example, how much per shelf?
Like, just I mean,
that could hold.
I usually when I do I usually fit like one whole batch from my mixer, my hash batch in here in a shelf. I basically separate it into. I put parchment in here, and I label one half 90 to 120, the other half is 45 to 70. So I make 2 separate piles, and it'll be the strain name. And that one goes in there. I separate each tray, gets its own strain. I usually do a different strain at a time.
Gotcha.
But I'll easily just off of like a nice size puck in the middle here, pull off a half-ounce hunk of hash after it's done.
Huh.
No problem. So I mean, if I really load this sucker up, I mean, you could probably fit a quarter pound of hash on here at a time. If you really loaded the whole tray.
In other words, for a home grower that small is basically a plenty size of a machine.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, I run 4 batches of hash. I put one. We differentiate each strain. So that's right in the air. You're already spending a couple hours mixing and pulling bags and everything and all that. This is loaded up with.
Yeah.
And like I said, if it was all the same strain, I could do all 4 of them batches and probably load 1 tray with that easily. Wow. So you could make hash for 8 hours, load all your trays up, and then put them in the goddamn thing and make it.
And that's the thing. How many plants do we really have, right? Like
I'm saying, it's all a home grower is going to need by far.
That's it.
Bigger trays is because you're actually got a garden going. And you want to start doing like stew and soup, and you're prepping kind of thing for like disasters and shit. Maybe.
Fascinating. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Gosh, there's even some interesting implications for if you have a freeze dryer. There's some interesting things you can do for woodworking and stuff that's so impractical if you don't have a freeze dryer. So if I had a freeze dryer, I would actually experiment with some stuff. How interesting. Jeff, what's going on, buddy? Welcome.
Hey, yeah, I didn't realize those trays were so long.
Mm.
Yeah.
The opening's pretty small, but I guess yeah, it's to keep the vacuum so that it's easier then.
It's a long tube.
And you can adjust what, the temperature and the pressure, or
I think so
mine
now.
is old. I can't adjust anything. But newer ones
That was
are.
it. The old ones, people used to always complain. They were like, "Oh, you got to make sure to get the slightly better ones because you can't change any of the shelf settings." But now it's got that touch screen display. Apparently, you can change everything. How handy is that?
yeah, they must
I
be
got
selling a
tiles on
lot.
the side of mine.
Somebody actually came up to me when I was looking at it. I was just standing in front of it thinking like, oh, imagining what I could do with it. And somebody came up and just walked behind me and said, "They're great, get one."
Mm.
And it was, like I was thinking
Was it
she was
Costco?
probably using it. Yes, but she was probably using it for food.
Huh.
Or, I mean, maybe not, but she didn't look like a typical stoner. But she couldn't.
Now, I have a question for everyone in the panel and the chat, if anyone has tried them. Has anyone tried any of those military ready-to-eat? I forget the acronym for them at the moment. But ready-to-eat meals that you just got to put like in a bag and it heats it
Oh
up.
yeah, they're really common here on the West Coast. One of the biggest companies is from Albany. The fuck is the name? Mountain Harvest or some shit.
Sounds familiar.
They're basically freeze-dried meals. Yeah, what is it?
Something like 5-gallon bucket kind of deals. All
Uh-huh.
packed
Yeah,
up.
and
Okay,
a
yeah.
lot of the military use them too now.
Yeah.
Where if it's like
Mountain
ready to
House.
eat and you heat it up and put like water in a thing and
That was close.
Yeah, it's all just exactly. It's just freeze dried food. You can make complete meals and freeze dry the complete meal in there. As long as the big thing is just trying to get it to an even consistency across your tray. If you get an even consistency across the tray, then it dries the same. Yeah, you're good to go. So if it's something chopped up like a stew or something, you're good to go.
Yeah, I think
they're incredibly expensive, as you
Hunters
can
use
see.
them a lot.
Sorry, we're talking over itself. Go
Sorry.
for it, Jeff.
I was just gonna say Hunters probably use them a lot. I was at Cabela's, and yeah, they sell a lot of dryers and freeze vacuum pack baggers. So yeah, Hunters.
Yeah, that's
good for freeze drying.
The
and there
downside
are,
is they're usually pretty high sodium. Why can't I?
thank you, Dad. MRE. That's
Yeah.
it. That's the acronym I was looking for. MRE.
Yep.
Yeah,
You know.
pretty high sodium, honestly. Look at that. We've got 67% of your daily needs. So if you ate a couple of these, you'd be way over your sodium needs. If you were already high sodium, for example, if you had blood pressure, you're up there hiking in the mountains, probably not the best option. But what was I going to say? Fuck, I forgot what I was going to say. Dang it, I can't remember what I was going to say. Anyway, they're a lot cheaper at Costco.
So that you can make your own,
handy.
maybe?
They're incredibly light. Like the pouch is one of the reasons why hunters, kayakers, outdoors people really love them. Is that that whole pouch is, I don't even know, half an ounce, not even. You know what I mean? And then basically you just get some water. Basically, if you're carrying water and one of those burners, and you pretty much just heat up the water and toss it in there, and what 5-10 minutes later, it's actually quite tasty. Those some of those brands, like the Mountain House, is really really good. There's a few other brands that taste great. Some of them taste like absolute fucking garbage. Maybe if you're at the top of a mountain, just climbed an entire mountain, you're super tired, that super salty, fatty thing is probably going to taste a lot better, honestly, than when we're here just chilling out. But at the same time, still, some of them taste better than others. Isn't that amazing, honestly, that we can basically freeze dry these ready meals? It's kind of fascinating.
I did.
And do that.
I just saying, well, I want to try them personally. They can get them on Amazon. Actually, the company you were showing to me, which is pretty cool.
For them at Costco. I swear to you, I have a box of them. It occurred to me one day, basically, I should have emergency food. So sure enough, I have a box of these emergency foods. I tried a couple of them to see how they taste. But other than that, I have several days of emergency food or whatever, and they last for a super long fucking time. All you gotta have is water and a way to boil it, basically. Technically, you don't even have to boil the water. Actually, it'll taste a lot worse without the boiling. Fuck it, Costco, the whole box is like It used to be cheaper. When I got it, it was like $64 something. Now I think I saw it the other day for $74, something like that. Still a crazy good deal because you saw those were like $12 a piece. And at REI and whatever, they're still going to be like $11 a piece. You can get, it's like what, a 15 or maybe 15 or 20. I'm gonna look at it on the website here. It's a whole box of stews and soups and shit for
Yeah.
like $2.
And desserts and snacks. It's crazy.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
they have
was
a whole
looking up.
load of stuff on Costco.com. How funny.
I was looking up actually
Costco.com is trying to up
different.
their game. Go ahead, D.
Oh, sorry. I was looking at different, like the different militaries
Oh, here we
have
go.
their own different ways of cooking stuff, obviously, but they actually do have rated, what is it, MREs, Indian food and all that too, which is pretty crazy. Freeze dried
Oh
Indian.
yeah, the Chinese have their own MREs.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. All the different countries. There's a bunch of YouTube channels that have the. I guess you're referencing. There's a bunch of YouTube channels that talk about the different MREs. It's kind of fun sometimes
Yeah.
to see them.
It's
I'm not
interesting.
finding the actual. This might be the closest to the kit that they have. This is still a little bit different, but still. Again, I don't work for Mountain House. You don't have to go out and buy this shit. I don't know why I'm suddenly advertising this stuff. I just thought it was a good deal at
Not
Costco.
sponsored.
I was saying, hey, before you go out and buy 10 of these at REI or whatever, go to Costco first. Especially this time of year, they usually have them. Super handy. Like I've taken them out kayaking before, like you get super hungry because you're exerting yourself, right? So as long as you have some kind of a propane burner, one of those camp stoves or something, you don't even have to have a fancy one. Just you have to boil water. That's pretty much fucking it. And not even that much water, like what, a mason jar worth of water, and then you toss it in the pouch, seal it up, go do something else for a while, and then you come back and boom, you have warm food. So it's pretty handy.
Oops. I'm gonna look it up in our Costco right now because I'm interested. I'm gonna send Mrs. D's mom to pick one up
Absolutely.
because they
Yeah,
do
it's kind
have.
of funny. These guys are, did I have their website open? These guys are made in very close here. I don't know why I'm so surprised by this, but I'm somehow always surprised when a major food brand is from like right down the street from me.
Wendy's.
Oh, they're not telling their address. Here we go. Our story. Maybe they'll say where they're from. Parent company, Oregon Freeze Dry. Look at that.
Holy fuck.
Speaking of freeze dry.
When they
Started.
the live resin, when they live freeze something, it's just frozen. It's never freeze dried, right? I wonder because I guess you can make BHO from that. You need huge vats, but then you really would extract everything.
So that makes sense. They got their start basically with MREs. We were talking about it, and then the war ended, so they basically probably had to take their product somewhere else. So they were like, well, shit, we could take it to Mars, we could take it to the moon, we could take it wherever.
It's like Tang.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I wonder if the hash I make, everything is all fresh frozen, or if they consider that THCA, since it's still live plant, fresh frozen.
Good question. Yeah,
most of the preserves enzymes and everything when you freeze dry. You're not cooking it at all. There's not any kind of heat to it.
In theory, you're actually, I think you're right. Love for the Plant. Love for the Plant would remember this a little bit better than I do. Do you remember Rockham's rosin? I know there's a million people who do this, but I remember people we know on YouTube. Pedro's Grow Room. What does he call himself now? He calls himself, well, whatever. Pedro's Grow Room. You guys know who I'm talking about, probably. And then Rockham's rosin was the guy that came up with it. He would squish the freeze-dried bubble hash and basically get solventless THC crystals. He would separate the solventless. He would separate the THCA from the terpenes and the lipids, and I guess what other component would it be? That'd be the main components. Well, I guess a little bit of THC, and then from the THCA, it'd be white. He would basically squish it in some way. I don't remember exactly how, and he would make solventless rocks. Basically, they were solventless THC rocks and sauce. So he would basically take the separated terpenes and reintegrate them then with those THCA rocks, and that was the hot shit. What, like 4 years ago or something? Fucking hell, how time passes. Does anybody even do that anymore? Isn't that freaking fast? It took him forever too. I remember he would talk about how long it would take him to do that shit. But my goodness, it was so popular.
Probably a
And
good.
I'm honestly wondering if there was any kind of difference to the experience. I think it's just the uniqueness of the experience. I don't know that you get really a different experience to it. Jeff, do you know what I'm talking about? Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah, yeah. It probably depends on the strain. It has to have a lot of terps, and then yeah, it'll crash out. The crystals will crash out of it.
Huh.
You let it sit for undisturbed for a while.
I guess I
You could
thought
also put in seed. I always thought putting in seed crystals with THC and or whatever.
I guess what it is I spend so much less time on Instagram now that I don't follow the current hash scene. I guess I've lost track of what they're doing now. I know they went through all the cold cure, warm cure, all that kind of stuff, but
The
most of that.
Piatella now is
Yeah.
um, being talked about a little bit, which that's also just really special terpy types and just extra terpiness and so certain varieties. And then they let it sit. They press it and then let it sit and make a solid chunk from it, more or less solid. It's like taffy almost.
Yeah, I've heard the name Piatella hash. What is Piatella?
Hmm.
And how to make Piatella from the Press Club. These guys make okay bags, but I got annoyed with them because I won one of their special things in their thing. They were like, you
Wow.
can't, we already gave too many of those out this year. What is Piatella and how to make Piatella? I was like, seriously, you gave out too many of your prize winning packages that for whatever, it doesn't matter. Anyway, this is according to Todd Phillips. Oh no, he is wearing pants. All right. It's making waves in a major way. You've seen the pictures, memes. I haven't, but I guess now I will pretend I have. This is next level solventless. It's blowing people's minds, rightfully so. The potency and flavor of this artfully crafted solventless cannabis concentrate is truly legendary. Can we bullshit this a little bit more? In northeastern Spain, the region of Catalonia is known for its lively beach resorts of Costa Brava, as well as the Pyrenees Mountains. Da 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 da. But is there anything new? Hash heads who would definitely know have recently called Piatella the very best hash in the world. So what exactly is Piatella? How do you make it? It's 6-star fresh frozen bubble hash that's both washed and cured to preserve resin in a unique and truly special way. We're talking about a premium cannabis. Okay, tell us more about how you do it. Piatella is the fusion of innovative cold curing with the innovation or traditional methods of hash making. It's full melt, 6-star on a fuck. This fucking guy is terrible at writing. Just tell us how. You can cut it with a knife. You can fucking shove it up your ass. It's firm enough to maintain anything. Any cannabis product he will not tell us how to make it. Jesus Christ! It's 4 paragraphs of him telling us how amazing it is. Seeing videos of Piatella president and translated. Oh, again, he's telling us how fucking fantastic it is. Terpenes in Piatella can sometimes bleed right out of the hash, reminiscent of cold cure rosin with puddles of liquid terps throughout. This is interesting. This hash isn't treated and pressed like rosin, though. It's just expertly cured. Wrapped in plant-based cellulose film, the key is in the cold cure in absence of fresh air, which would speed up oxidation. Fascinating. One key difference between temple balls and Piatella is that temple balls require a heat and pressure like a wine bottle with hot water to pop the trichome, release all the resin. To pop the trichome, release all the resin out of the. That's badly written. Anyway, hash makers roll a wine bottle filled with hot water over loose resin to lightly press the trichomes before rolling it into a ball for curing and aging. All the compounds in the trichome head, including the cuticle itself, chemically interact during the aging process to create something new. In contrast, Piatella keeps the trichome heads completely into fucking fascinating. I have always wondered about this. All right.
So what?
Allows it to slowly cold cure over time in a controlled environment while minimizing oxidation. There's no heating involved. Has anyone stopped to wonder why? All respect to Frenchie. Amazing guy, amazing hash. Never going to criticize the guy. We all stand on people like that's shoulders, but we can also develop processes as things move on. For example, Subcool, great guy in some ways, but didn't know his ass from his elbow in other ways. We don't have to pretend that he did. We can innovate the processes. We don't have to all grow a super soil. We don't have to all do what Frenchie did. Frenchie's washing methodology is fascinating, but did anyone stop to think why you're standing there methodically squeezing a hot water bottle that could break in your hands and maim you for the rest of your life? when you could be doing it in 1,000 other ways. I did, and I've been wondering if you could just not do that whole heating process. Okay, so back to the article. French cannoli made a great analogy. Some people like to drink orange juice, while other people like to eat the full orange. We can think of, okay, he's bullshitting right now. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Who can say that the orange bad? Da, 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 da. Piatella is a different experience, and that's okay. He's just a terrible writer. How to make it? While we don't have the exact recipe, he's going to bullshit anyway. The key is to vacuum sealing the dried fresh frozen hash and allowing it to cold cure for months. Here's an outline of the process. Starting with top quality premium resin is absolutely essential. This requires washing exceptional fresh frozen cannabis material and then freeze drying the loose resin. Full melt 6-star hash should be the starting point. As many hash people have said before, you will never improve bad hash. You can only improve good hash. The loose resin will be in a sand-like consistency as soon as it comes out of the freeze dryer. Place the resin inside of a vacuum sealing bag, like a food-safe cellophane wrapping, call Cardi B. Then use a vacuum sealing machine. Remove all the air from inside the bag. This step allows the resin to essentially melt without using any heat, just time in the absence of air. Very interesting. The vacuum seal will squeeze the loose resin into a brick. This provides just the right amount of pressure to compress the loose resin without compromising the color. At this point, terpenes will likely begin to sweat out of the hash. The terpenes will interact chemically with the rest of the compounds of the resin, which is how the magical transformation occurs. This also leads to greater stability and shelf life in the long term. Leave the piatella in its vacuum-sealed environment for a long, cold cure. Maintain the temperature between 40 and 50 degrees Fahrenheit, being careful not to exceed 60. Avoid temperature fluctuations. The resin will congeal together as the trichomes will melt without losing color. Fuck right off. Thank you for bringing that up, Jeff. That's really very interesting.
I gotta say, if you're gonna do it that way, I don't think you want to go straight into a vacuum bag. If it's gonna be leaking out terpenes, you're gonna put it into some kind of glass container, open lid in there, because you risk solvents in your plastic bag. Is not a good thing. I wouldn't do that route.
That was another thing. Frenchie aged his hash in cellophane, and okay, his was, I think, vegetable cellulose. So I think in his case he was safe. But I think a lot of people don't follow the same amount of fucking persnicketyness.
I think
they did. They wrapped it in cellophane
over at Stubbs' house about hash before, and it was hilarious because he was going about how you had to press it. You had to press the hash to activate it, on and on. And I'm like, dude, you fire it, you activate it. You have to. We got about 10 minutes back and forth. I said, dude, you activate the hash if you're going to eat it. That's an ancient technique. You activate the hash, you roll it and roll it and roll it, then you eat the shit so you get high off of it. If you eat it without that, you're not going to get a buzz off of it. But if you're going to smoke it, you don't have to do that. He's going, no, it's way different. The ancient technique going back. I was like, whatever. Dude, no different when you smoke it afterwards. I don't think if you activate it ahead of time or you put in, THCA raw, I don't think there's that much difference once you smoke it. I can't imagine it being that noticeable. I honestly have never noticed it from more of a cured hash that's been pressed as opposed to a fresher hash, much of a different. I mean,
it's fascinating to say this, and it's a morbid thought, honestly. But I heard an expression recently. Science proceeds one funeral at a time, and it was a grim, interesting thought. Did you see, Jeff? I wonder if you've heard that one before. And the idea is that you have a lot of I don't know, what do you call them? Ivory tower figures, I guess, in any field, and science, I guess, is one of them, that, for example, will be the editors of publications or the heads of departments or whatever, and they will oftentimes be quite inflexible and be quite invested in their lifelong endeavors, despite the fact that, of course, science is a constant process. And you basically have to wait until they disappear for the process to move forward. And there's an element of that, I think, in all of our lives. And it's kind of interesting. Like, on some level, you have to wait for the old timers to pass their traditions with them. And some of those traditions continue, and some of those traditions don't. Some of the traditions are not good. So, like you said, activating it by rolling it, you're right. I mean, that heat is great, basically, if you're going to eat it, for example. But why do you need to heat activate something that's going to quietly age in a cool environment for a really long time. It never really made a lot of sense to me. I guess I rationalized it by saying, all right, there's that transformation that Frenchie talks about with the hashishin and everything else. But I mean, there's also a transformation. You can see it in cold cure. If you've ever had a rosin press, if you've ever put the rosin, people used to do hot cure. You could put your rosin basically right onto, like right out of the jar. In the jar, you could put the jar right on top of the plates, basically, while you're pressing more of your rosin, and you'd see it fucking bubble and do its transformation and stuff. Well, I guess that's proving Frenchie right. Anyway, go ahead, North Star. What were you gonna say?
No, I was thinking. I mean, exactly. You said how I was reading like, your article saying is oranges and orange juice. I was looking at that. It comes down to personal preference. I have hashes that I do have rolled like a cannoli kind of style, and I have fresh stuff. I do think there's a little different, maybe a smell and a taste to pressed and cured hash. Obviously, as it ages, it changes flavor notes a little bit, and I think just naturally comes a little more of a narcotic buzz too. But I think it just comes down to personal preference, how you like to handle your hash. Sometimes I have stuff that it's, if it's all in it, obviously if it's you have a sandy powder, you can't roll a little piece of it or whatever, or you press some of it out first. Sometimes you cut. That's the thing with the hair presses. For a while, people would put their hash in there and press it out and just cut little pieces of it off and smoke it that way. It's I don't see that much difference in how you want to smoke it, or what makes it that much better. As long as you have good material to start with and you make good hash to start with, no matter how you process it, it should all be freaking good. Unless you deliberately, vaporize off your terpenes or something like too high of a heat or something ridiculous. But if you start with a good product, no matter whether you press it, it's raw, you do the paella, all of it should be freaking fire. So that's the thing to focus on, I think.
What would be pronounced? Piatilla?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's good for storage. He used turkey bags, I believe, first. So he put it in turkey bags and then vacuum sealed it.
Okay.
Like just that plastic. He wrapped it tight but he used that instead of cellophane, like a food grade turkey bag. And he pressed it at a low temperature, very slowly, so it came out really white. So Frenchie's method always turns it black.
I think
So I'm thinking that's what black hash is. I used to think it was
on the inside. It wasn't black though. On the inside, it was pretty. It was pretty blonde. I mean, I bought a couple of blocks. So even as it aged, it was still quite. The outside was quite dark, 100%. But as soon as you would cut in just the tiniest little bit, it would be. First of all, on the outside, it would almost be like a crust a little bit. But as soon as you squished into the outside, like just a little bit of skin on the outside, it would instantly be a lighter color and soft and kind of gooey. And over time, I had one. I had strawberries and cream or something. I can't remember. I had one basically for 3-4 years. I bought it in 2017. I think the last time I smoked it was in like 2021 or 2022, something like that. And it was still pliable, gooey on the inside. It was already a little bit Play-Doh-y, but it was still kind of like pliable and gooey. It was fascinating that it lasted that long, honestly. I didn't age. It was just literally in my basement. It wasn't in a freezer or anything.
I always figured he pressed it and heated it up so he could press all the air out. And the black must be oxidation mainly, and I would think maybe different varieties maybe turn black easier than others. But
sure.
Yeah.
By the way,
But dry sift, I used to think it was dry sift that would be blonde, and then somehow it got wet or something like bubble or something for black, or they heated it up or something for black hash. But dry sift does stay.
I don't know
blonde.
that Frenchie really even focused too much on dry sift, did he? North Star, did he make hash out of dry sift or?
Not that I'm aware of too much. Usually it was water process.
Yeah, that's what I figured. He was
But those were always pressed. I mean, those always came in like I kind of remember it's like oval shaped in some kind of mesh bag in the old days, with a stamp on it. So they pressed them somehow, but I guess I always thought just as like a dry sift. That was but somehow and pressed them just for transport or storage. And then maybe also, yeah, keep it, it'll stay fresh, or just keep press most of the oxygen out.
By the way, Love for the Plant was talking about the Lilac Diesel conversation earlier. He confirmed that, yeah, the BX3, yeah, different cut basically than everyone fell in love with. He's saying that the BX3 probably has better structure but lesser terps. So that's one of the reasons why I probably didn't like it, because again, hardly any terps, but definitely good structure. Like it really did. It grew well. Cheers, folks in the chat. Western Maine looks like is in the chat. Who else in here? Dead Fish, hanging. Marshall, what's going on, Marshall? Good to see you, buddy.
Yeah.
Hanging with us. Dr. Libby Alone's in the house. Dr. Libby Alone does a cold bottle press. Interesting. I guess so then you do the same thing essentially, but without the warm bottle. How do I put this? I mean, if it's still good hash, it should press just fine with a cold bottle as much as a warm bottle, honestly. Tell us more about the process though, Dr. Libby Alone. Rory's in the chat. What's going on, buddy? Looks like Guerrero's somewhere here because people are saying hello to him. What's up? J5's hanging. J5 uses the dab press versus a hot water bottle. So that dab press is do you mean the dab press, or is it called a dab right? No, that's the different thing. Dab press. Dab press. Tell us more. I feel like that's the actual brand name of a press, or are you actually using yeah, tell us more, J5.
Or just to press and not turn the heat on.
Just a little high.
Just press it.
With like a bottle press, like an old school bottle.
Because that should help it preserve too.
We in your videos, Frenchie taught some dry sifting methods.
Ow, motherfucker.
Maybe even cold pressing. I've heard of that. But yeah, I mean, cold press hash.
A lot more about this. I think a lot of the hash people have gone underground. Well, that's not true. There's still hash church and stuff. Although I don't know, I haven't had a time to watch hash. Do you guys watch hash church? I've had a chance to watch it for a while now, honestly.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've watched Bubble Man. He had one last Sunday.
Yeah, he's been pretty regular actually lately.
Yeah.
I guess I have no excuse, to be honest. But
they talk about it on that show. So yeah, Piatella. So,
oh, right on.
Yeah, that's somebody that talked about it.
I'm always excited to hear about stuff like that. You know, this is basically, oh, look at that. It says a particular Piatella from Uncle's Farm, processed by La Sagrada, won third place at Ego Clash in 2020. Ever since then, it's been gaining popularity. Anyway, I'm always excited about new processes like this, right? Like new ways to process these wonderful little trichomes that we can grow in our freaking garages and basements and backyards. Isn't that fucking fascinating? And seriously, everything we heard so far, you can make better quality. How do you pronounce it? Piatella, maybe? However you fucking pronounce this shit, we can pronounce it like gringos. Piatella. And you can make it better at your house than you could at any, maybe not any facility, because obviously really high-end facilities could specialize in that. But you know what I mean? Like you could still have a freaking really good chance at having that world quality. Like where else can you do that? You really can't do that. I suppose you could do that with wine, but gosh, only with great difficulty. Like how do you manage to get the best possible quality grapes that year? You know, that would be a luck of the draw kind of thing. I guess you can cultivate the vines and stuff, but it takes so long to do that. I think it's unreasonable that basically one person in their backyard could make like the best wine in the world. Feel free, folks, to disagree because I'm definitely not a wine expert. Beer, I guess you could probably make a good beer. You know what I mean? You could probably make a really good beer. You could probably make a really good scotch. It's not really legal to do that, but you could still do it. You could make a really good moonshine. But I mean, fuck, like where else can you do this? Like a world quality product that could stand, you know, it could get gold medal basically anywhere in the world. I think it's just so fascinating. We should really appreciate it more. Ladies and gentlemen, we're slowly, I think, wrapping up. We'll give it the last call here. We got another few minutes. And so anybody that wants to hop on for the last couple of words, feel free to hop on and say hello. What does Western Maine Mang say? Brian Best Friend's Farm in Maine makes stellar Piatella, 100%. Right on. Martial artist says Hash Church has been dope lately, and that guy was on there explaining nuances of this technique. Well, we'll have to nuances of this technique. He says, I'll have to catch up.
Yeah, they drop a lot of science on there. Pretty good.
Nice. Right on.
I had to mute you for a second, North Star, 'cause you're feedbacking. I'm muted. Still
Oh, you're
muted.
muted. You're muted, North Star.
Although he changed his lifetime.
Uh-oh.
We can't hear you.
Sorry. Just looking.
For some reason, he's
I'll send him an ask too. That might work.
He used to have a lifetime warranty, though. and he
There we
doesn't
go.
anymore.
Yeah, I was trying to get the YouTube page open here so I could see the comments. I can't see the comments on the Zoom
Oh,
here.
here, let me
And it opened up and everyone was talking, so it started.
try to post
Me.
only. Why don't I have a freaking page open?
Lemon Hoko, chill out, man. Hoko's posting on his freaking page. Keeps popping up every second. Cheers, Hoko, by the way.
Always cool guy, Lemon Hoko. There we go. I just posted it in the Zoom chat. J5 says Brian's hash is straight fire.
I know a couple good Canadian hash makers that are in the panel. Or I'm not sorry, on the panel, in the chat.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
Oh, we've had some great hash makers on the show before. A lot of folks through here. I remember Wes makes hash. Who else has been through the show that made hash? A lot of people.
Here's one right here.
Nice.
No,
I
I go
used
the
to
back.
love hash. I guess I'm gonna get back to it, I hope, but it's been a couple of years since I made any. I used to make it all the time though. I used to mostly smoke hash. How funny is that? Times change. Cheers, Hillbilly Herb. He says hash is tight.
Right on.
We were making jokes about your mama. Ladies and gentlemen, hop on if you want to tell us a couple funny words for the end of the show here. We're probably going to bounce the next few minutes, but ladies and germs, other than that. So what's the verdict? It sounds like everybody here is pretty much in favor of those harvest rights. There's not really another brand that I know of that's easily gettable. I mean, there are other brands, but they're more expensive. There's some fucking super fancy Swiss brands and shit, but I'm not going to spend $5,000 for a freeze dryer. $1,600, get it from Costco. If it breaks down, seems like a good fucking deal, no?
I think if your main dish is for making hash, you'll be happy with it, and if you want to use it for more than that, you'll even be more happy with it because it's small. Even this, like I said, the small one is big enough, mainly for yourself. You can probably freeze dry several pounds of like a stroganoff at a time on there.
That's really fun. Yeah, freeze-dried fruits and stuff would be awesome. My
Yeah, you
house
can
has
do a lot of
a plum
stuff.
tree. What else? Kind of a smaller cherry tree, so I don't know how much it's going to yield, but I know I'm going to have a ton of plums. So freeze-dried plums would be cool. What else? Obviously, freeze-dried bananas would be spectacular. Oh, I've got blueberry bushes, so freeze-dried blueberries would be cool too. Yeah, that'd be kind of fun, honestly. Well, we'll see.
I got my
Yeah.
list.
Somebody was saying freeze-dried mushrooms. Yeah, grow mushrooms. That makes
Freeze-dried
a lot of sense.
mushrooms. Have I ever had a
By the
freeze-dried
way-
mushrooms? I've had dried mushrooms, but I don't know if I've ever had a freeze-dried mushroom. Fascinating.
So I looked up
Well, I'm
on
sure they're in the beef stroganoff there.
I mean, you're right. Yeah, I guess that's right. Freeze-dried mushrooms.
Here's
Great way to prevent mold.
another hash maker.
I mean, you're not lying. Huh.
I believe powdered milk is freeze dried milk, basically.
Huh. Fascinating. Good to know. Another thing I want to do at my place is grow a lot of mushrooms. I've already got some oyster mushrooms and this cool I think it's dead, but this cool old conch mushroom on one of my old stumps, basically in the back. Anyway, I want to start inoculating the whole yard with other stuff. It'd be fun. What else here? West Tremaine is saying Jeff from Art and Crafts is a dear friend of mine. Oh, he's going to talk privately. Cheers, Newfleet. Good to see you. Martial artists saying freeze-dried shiitake are amazing. That's awesome.
I looked up Costco Canada, and they don't have the same brand that you guys have, and it's more expensive here for the kits for the MREs. And I also looked up Costco doesn't sell freeze dryers in
No?
Canada, just like liquor.
So I've never really, yeah. So I guess Costco.com would only be for the US, and then you'd have probably Costco.ca.
Right.
Oh, yeah, that's annoying. Too bad.
So no freeze dryer for me.
No freeze dryer for you. Come back 1 year. Love for the Planet is saying there are a couple brands coming up. One of them is getting traction in our space. I referenced the discussion in an earlier comment on here. Love for the Planet earlier comments and some of the earlier Weed Nerd videos. Love for the Planet. It's in partial plastic. Love for the Planet. Just spill the beans. Just tell us which. Yeah, just tell us what other brands there are, because I can't look through every single comment. I'm trying.
Hey, if North Star uses the Costco one, he says it's good. Then
Right? I
Oh,
think
he's
that's a good
right.
idea.
He's had it forever.
Oh, cool. Way back, Love for the Plant said Future Cannabis Project just had a really good discussion about settings and brands. DM me on IG for a link to that episode if anyone is interested. But preemptively, Love for the Plant, just send me a link. I'd be happy to see that. Perhaps that's what he's referencing. Well, I guess with that, ladies and gentlemen, maybe we'll start to say our good evenings or good afternoons and all that kind of stuff. Hopefully, your high noon condition is better than when you showed up. Hopefully you're a little better off. I think probably, well, I don't know if I have time to smoke a joint. I'm gonna try to smoke a quick joint because then I got shit to do. Who else is
Yeah, I do too.
Western Maine. I totally eat an MRE meal right now. We're the worst, aren't we? Like we basically talk about food and make everybody hungry. D's always freaking starving from this show.
Yeah, I'm hungry now.
North Star, what were you saying?
So I got stuff to do too. So I think I'm gonna be I gotta leave in like 10 minutes, so I can't have a 420 smoke. But I'm gonna have to have some chocolate on my way out the door though, because I'm getting hungry.
That sounds like a plan.
food.
Go for it. 420 chocolate works. Like I always say, ladies and gentlemen, don't feel compelled to smoke. If you guys live somewhere where they're gonna fucking behead you for smoking, please don't do that. If you live in Singapore or something, please don't smoke on the 420. But obviously, ladies and gentlemen, puff with us if you are able to. If you are not able to, have some chocolate, have some. You're in Singapore, have some Singapore crab. That's their signature dish, the spicy chili crab. Sounds delicious. We were talking about the food yesterday. North Star, are you a fan of spicy food at all?
I am. I like moderate levels of spice, like a little burn on my lips and tongue till just keep know you're eating something.
I'm kind of weirdo. I basically have no top level of spice. I love all kinds of super spicy stuff. I often grate ghost peppers and stuff and reapers on my food. I feel like it's a volume button basically that essentially turns the volume up on your food. It's hard to explain. It's not. I don't know. I'm not. I've always been
For me, it's like I turn the volume up just loud enough to where I can feel it in my mouth, but I won't have a replay of the thing the next morning. I won't be replaying the tune in the morning anymore. So that's
what Guerrero was saying. I've never had that experience. I don't know. I must have.
Oh, I know. No.
Or some shit.
Because we actually had a pizza we ordered from our place that had we ordered this pizza from our local place that had jalapenos on it, had some kind of spicy hot pepper barbecue sauce on it, and it would burn my ass every morning. So we started calling it the butt burner. We literally called like, you want to order your butt burner pizza? Like what? Like, oh, yeah, the jalapeno spicy. Like, oh, okay.
I must be used to it or something. I don't know, man. It drives me nuts on the subreddit on Reddit, spicy foods or spicy. I can't remember which one it is. There's always these people talking about how they're suffering in the morning, and I'm just like, what is wrong with you people? Do you not digest your food? I don't understand it. But
so I don't consider jalapenos as spicy at all.
I know that's it. So
yeah,
every once in a while you get a spicy jalapeno, but not very often.
I'm into the Thai chilies now.
Thai
chilies are good. They're like this big.
Oh, Thai chilies. Yeah, happy 420.
They're that big. I took pictures and they're friggin' hot as a motherfucker.
Yeah, Thai chilies are yummy. The problem with jalapenos is that they've been purposefully bred actually by a couple of the ag schools like Texas A&G, I guess it is, to be consistently not spicy because hot sauce companies, for example, salsa companies and stuff can always add extract. I fucking can't stand extract, the flavor. Like once you taste it, you can never untaste it, even in small fucking amounts. It's so gross. Anyway, it's very easy to add the capsaicin extract, which is basically the same thing as mace, by the way, to any hot sauce to make it as spicy or as unspicy as you want, and far easier to do that when you have bitch ass bland fucking jalapenos instead of occasionally spicy ones, occasionally unspicy ones. They'd rather have them all be consistently garbage and then just pour in a little bit of extract. Yay, capitalism. So that's basically why most of the jalapenos that you find in the store are trash. If you grow them yourself, you'll get jalapenos. One is super fucking spicy. Well, honestly, most of them are spicy when you grow them yourself. They grow a lot differently when you grow them like under like real sun with real dirt and love. But generally, you'll get a variety, kind of like cannabis. You'll get a phenotypic variety basically in the jalapenos. So, ladies and gerbils, now that we hit the 420, who wants to be first? North Star, go for it.
Yeah, I gotta take off. So thanks for having me on. Yeah, go and get yourself a harvest right. It'll do you good. I think you'll enjoy it.
Man, I might
So
All right, yeah.
be good to your neighbor. Pray for everyone down there in Southern California right now. They're going through hell. Peace. Take it easy.
Yeah. Yeah, see you. Thanks.
Yeah, some beautiful areas that are just being burned to shit, honestly, the area around Pepperdine University. Fascinatingly, the Pepperdine University itself is in absolutely no danger. They never, ever evacuate the campus. The campus is basically a stronghold of fires. And interestingly enough, I think it's still the LA Fire Department. I think it's the LA County Fire Department. Don't quote me on that. But anyway, they use Pepperdine as the staging area basically to expand outwards. Absolutely fascinating. One of the most, it's jaw-droppingly gorgeous. The fucking Pepperdine campus is just like fuck right off. Obama went there, and oh my fucking God, it's literally, I mean, back when he went there, the traffic was a lot less, so probably literally 15 minutes to Santa Monica, 25 minutes to downtown LA. He probably had a pretty fun college life. Now it would probably take you about an hour, hour and a half, but more during traffic to get back to town. You have to drive on Sunset and everything else. But even still, just actually just jaw-droppingly fucking gorgeous area. So sad that those places burn. Interestingly enough, there's the beginning of a new discussion in California whereby people are talking about the wildlife in Southern California evolved to occasionally burn, and the fact that we actually don't allow it to burn through from time to time sets up these catastrophic wildfires that burn everything into the ground. That's basically what you don't want. You want these flash fires occasionally that burn just the surface of the soil and nothing underneath the surface. Even sometimes just a couple inches above the surface is unfazed as the fire just rushes through basically and burns itself out. Essentially, it's so fast. Whereas these catastrophic fires, they burn so hot and for so long, honestly, that they burn like a foot deep into the ground and they kill the ground, essentially. So no good for anybody. Anyway, there's a whole discussion basically that perhaps they should not rebuild some of these houses and make them permanent potential wildfire zones, basically. They're one of the treasures of LA, actually, I would say. I think a lot of people that live in LA would agree with this. People that don't live in LA don't even know about this, but people live in LA love Runyon Canyon. It's basically like it's like Central Park essentially for LA. It's not nearly as big as Central Park, which is a shame. And the funniest thing is it's basically an accidental park because it was one of the many canyons that had rich fucking houses in it, and it just kept burning down over and over and over and over and over again. It was right behind Samuel Goldwyn's mansion, on and on and on. Anyways, this fancy fucking neighborhood with all these movie stars and rich producers and music people and stuff, right? Because it's right down the street to Capitol Records, right down the street. Basically, it was right down the street to Fox Studios. They're in a different place now, right over the hill to fucking Burbank. Like a lot of movie stars live there. Well, it kept burning down so often that the city of LA was like, fuck it, you're done. We're not doing any more rebuilding here. It's going to be a park. And sure enough, in some areas, like right at the very top, because it touches Mulholland, that's one of the reasons why it was so popular. At the top, it's Mulholland, and down at the bottom, basically, it's a couple blocks from Hollywood Boulevard. You can still see the outlines of some of the foundations of some of these fucking houses that burned down. And a couple of the houses that didn't burn down are still there, grandfathered into the park. So you see all these fucking tourists basically walking by, and there's like a couple of normal people's houses. Must be so weird for them, but whatever. I guess they choose to live there. Anyway, like it's so strange to me that one of the jewels of LA is this accidental burn pile. Basically, that someone at some point, I need to look up when they made it. I want to say like the 80s, because it wasn't really that long ago. They were just like, fuck it, we're tired of rebuilding this. And it's like we should have more discussions like this, like when we have these constant wildfires in these areas. And I'm sorry for these people whose houses burned down, but let's be honest, a lot of them are living in mansions on beachfront villas that everyone knows are going to burn down from time to time. Like some of these places should probably not be rebuilt, you know? So anyway, one of these days someone's going to have a discussion about it, I'm sure. Probably too late, kind of like in Florida. Once half of Florida falls into the ocean, then we'll start to talk about it. But anyway, Jeff, go for it, buddy.
Hey, yeah, it's amazing. It's terrible. America really has a lot of disasters, all
Mhm.
sorts. Um, yeah, I don't know what started that. It's probably was it just natural? Some place was saying it was three
But
fires that
the
came
fire,
together.
it could be anything, but basically Santa Ana wind season, unfortunately now is basically for a few months. Like Bud was saying yesterday, it used to be just in the fall, like maybe September, but now it's so dry. Basically in California, fire season is all year round now. It used to be fire season was a season in summer basically, but now it's fire season all year fucking long. Thanks very much.
Really?
And this last year, they actually had some significant rains. California is still in 1,000-year mega drought. People don't realize the weather conditions. It baffles me how clueless a lot of people are about a lot of stuff. So California and the entire Southwest are in a mega drought that's predicted to last another 400 years, 500 years, something like that. We're in the middle of that mega drought. Anyway, there was a big rain last year that didn't beat the mega drought, but it filled up a
Yeah,
lot of reservoirs, and unfortunately, it watered a lot of foliage that now grew up, and as is typical of all this
that's what does it.
after fire season, pre-fire season. It's like this push-pull of garbage. And this is one of the reasons why allowing occasional burns through would probably be helpful, because what happens is we have a complete burn off and then everything comes back basically with a heavy rain a couple years later. And wouldn't you know it, that's a tremendous amount of fuel to burn next time, because there's going to be a next time. There's always a next time in California. And so wouldn't you know it, this is that next time. I'm not a psychic, but I bet you anything that's the reason, because there was a
Yeah.
crazy rain last year, so they were predicting horrible fire season this year. So this coming summer is going to be really, really bad because last year there was so much more foliage. This year was a lot less rain, I think, so maybe that is maybe averaging out, but
Yeah, I don't know. Do they do control burns, or is
they
that something they don't
very
do?
rarely. That's one of the things that
Yeah,
basically there are some controlled burns, but not really enough,
I
honestly.
do remember some yeah controversy over that, but yeah, it seems the way to do it. Just keep burning little areas, so
Mm.
you know, to control
But
it if there's a
unfortunately, a
big
lot of the
one.
wrong people are end up basically managing entire departments, right? So a lot of the people who don't like controlled burns because they like to graze their cattle on public lands,
Yeah,
whatever.
it's bad too. I mean, it smells. It's like a little
That's
fire,
true. That's true.
but and
And
people like to
drive
look
through a
at the
burned area, it
green.
looks terrible for a while. That's true
Yeah.
too.
All right. Well, hey, thanks for having the show. It
Jeff,
was good. I'm glad I hopped on.
good to see you, buddy.
All right. Thanks. See you, D.
Later, Jeff. Go for it, D.
Later, Jeff. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Don't forget to tune in this Saturday, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 7 o'clock Pacific on the Fumadoro and the Flavors channel, if we can talk right, with the pre-show on my channel. So be sure to check me out there. Yeah, everyone have a great rest of the week. Remember, if your women don't find you handsome, at least you find you handy. Keep your stick on the ice and you can take off, eh? Don't be a hoser.
Cheers,
Yeah,
D. No
buddy.
hoser, eh?
Yeah, hoser, buddy.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you, of course, Steve, for helping out in the background, and for the panel. Thank you very much, folks, for hopping on. Always a pleasure to talk to Jeff and North Star and all the rest that hop on here. Obviously, not everyone can stop on during the middle of the days, folks. So my appreciation for you folks who can take the time out of your day. Goes for the rest of you as well, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I hope you well, hopefully you learned something, or at least appreciated something in the conversation. Certainly quite a few of you offered some information, so thank you very much for that. Always a pleasure when we can have a collaborative discussion that we get somewhere with. That's always been the idea of my shows. They've never really been meant to be just a kind of a passive hangout show. Unfortunately, due to life events, I'm sure all of us have had life events in the last couple of years, but I've definitely had some pretty traumatic life events in the last couple of years. It became easier in many cases to just kind of sit back and allow a passive hangout, but that's never been the goal of the show. So I hope folks, especially with this show, but actually with all of my content going forward this year and hopefully in the future, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to see a lot more of an active role of really trying to move the conversation forward in some particular way. There's a drone YouTuber that I follow. He's into drones, obviously not. He doesn't. He's not a robot drone or something. He's into drones, right? Like FPV drones. He's Joshua Bardwell, and he says, "I'm Joshua Bardwell, and you're going to learn something today." And I've always thought that was such a fun a catchphrase for a person to have. So, folks, I hope that you will be able to learn things from my channel in the future. I hope to focus a lot more on guests. I'm slowly setting up my house and my studio and stuff. The studio is slower than the garden. Honestly, I've said that I've got a bad back, so everything takes me 3 times as long as a normal person does. Hopefully one of these days I'll finally get everything situated and fucking set up and all that kind of stuff. Excuse me. Ladies and gentlemen, little by little, you're going to see hopefully a lot more guests come back on the show. I haven't had guests for a long time on the show. You're going to see hopefully a lot more in-person interviews. I actually have space and ability to have kind of a studio guest as well. So not only can I go to people, but I can have people come to me. So that's going to change the situation a little bit, I hope. Excuse me. And hopefully we'll be able to have some some interesting discussions on the show or on the channel that way. So if you folks have any ideas, I would love to hear about them in the future. I haven't had a chance to fix I've kind of been, as you can see, behind the 8 ball on quite a few things. So I haven't had a chance to fix my Proton Mail and stuff. So don't email me there because apparently it's not going through right at the moment. Don't actually know what the problem is there. It's always fucking something, but it's probably something simple. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, if you do have any suggestions or commentary or something, DM me on Discord, or I guess DM me on Instagram if you can. But in the future, it's sort of a warning, ladies and gentlemen, or a helpful, friendly warning, I guess. I hope to do quite a few different kinds of discussions than we've had in the past. Hopefully, like I say, with some subject matter experts to talk about things like these new kinds of hash. Wouldn't that be nice to talk about some of these things with the people that do them and not just kind of by the seat of our pants? So we're going to try to get back into that, ladies and gentlemen. So Dr. Lee Alone loves it when a plan comes together. Thank you very much, Dr. Lee Alone. Would you be Mr. T in our little gang of misfits? I think he would be. I think he would be Mr. T. Or what was the fucking actor's name that played Starbuck? It's the most interesting goddamn name. Oh, I can't even think of his fucking name. Dirk Benedict. There we go. Should have remembered. Benedicts are my favorite fucking breakfast. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks very much for joining us. What does that say, D? Just nuts over your shits, or what does it say? Just nutted over your.
Oh, I just nutted over your screen, but it doesn't work. I hit it and I was like, oh shit, why did that happen? Full screen.
There you go.
There you go.
Maybe if you would turn the phone sideways, maybe it would show the whole script or something. Oh, still. What the fuck is that? Oh, whatever. Someone's calling me from the rain.